Now, I've known Tom for 2 years. When I first met Tom, was this time last year, basically, and sort of on a team working with me, and he just constantly with these questions, like, what are you doing here, what are you doing there, how's this going to happen? I was like, who is this guy? You're the only one contacting me for like 90% of the time. And then obviously then meeting you, like, my opinion of you as a person is top notch. I've never met someone who's so proactive, so productive, and with so much energy to influence people's lives. Honestly, you've as an older guy, you don't normally look at younger guys and think, I want to be a bit like that.
Yeah.
It's normally the other way around. But honestly, I take 10% out of you every day of the week. I mean, you are a top guy. I've had the luxury of living with you and having, sort of guerrilla platoon coaching on tap.
Yeah.
And I've learned, and again, I've been in the industry a long time, the fitness industry, but I've learned so much from you. Honestly, can't thank you enough for that. And I'm probably talking on behalf of Guerrilla Platoon here. What you do for them, what you do for us as a group of people, as a group of ex-servicemen and beyond that now. Thank you.
Yeah,
you're
appreciate
top guy
that.
what you do.
No, I appreciate that.
So, tell me about Tom Sergey. Tell me.
Yeah, so currently now we're running the Guerrilla Platoon online physique transformation program for ex and serving military. That's where it was born out from. Now it's spread across the world, where we're coaching people from the US, Oz, Africa, and all around. But obviously it didn't start out like that. So at the age of 15, I was just about to leave school. Didn't really have any educational. I'm not the smartest, I just understand body fat percentage now. But I had a close friend, and he was like, what are you going to do when you leave school? And I was like, I don't know, He's like, well, have you heard of this thing? They're called the parachute regiment. They're the hardest, they're the fittest to get into, and they jump out of planes. And you can go to Harrogate at 17 and you get paid £1,000 a month. I was like, I'm doing a paper out and getting like 30 a week here. I was like, yeah, that sounds like a bit of me. Because throughout my whole time growing up, the only thing I really liked was fitness. And that was my main focus. I was fit, but I wasn't really like smart or anything. And conveniently, I'm one of four in a household. We also have two older siblings as well. But my mum, she ran that household like a sergeant major in the military.
She had to, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, from the age of like, I want to say 6 or 7. In the garden, we had these heavy chairs, and I'd have to drag it out, get the washing pegged out, and if it wasn't done, she was like, why is that washing not pegged out? Obviously, from a space of love, but I can't thank her enough for how well disciplined that got me from such a young age. So now, like, to work a long day, to do a bit of an arduous task, it kind of comes second nature now, just because from an impressionable age, I've had that discipline of like someone being down my neck. And I think your upbringing, it can absolutely shape you. You can absolutely change it as you go on in life. But to have that from a young age, and all she really did was make me do jobs that maybe my friends weren't doing consistently for years upon years.
I mean, again, that's one thing that really impresses me about you is the discipline. I've often sat back over the time we've known each other and thought, when I was that age, could I have outworked him? And that's one of my things I've always sort of lived by. But no, I couldn't. And I'm looking actually at your laptop now, actually, with the question set on today, but also in the background is your day-to-day timetable. You are on it like a carb on it every second. Every hour here is itemised for a session. Something is happening.
Yeah.
And again, it's attributes to what your parents have done.
Yeah.
Your mum's done for you and stuff, but it's actually something you've taken to a different level.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Explain to me that discipline and how it helps shape not just you, but the guerrilla platoon itself.
Yeah, for sure. The way I always look at discipline is you can choose to do the thing or you can choose to not do the thing. Not doing the thing, in a weird way, seems to just eat away at your soul every time you don't do the thing, because behind closed doors, all the times you've jacked on yourself, all the times you've not done the thing or you've done something that you wouldn't be proud of. And that there just degrades your character back and back and back. And when you have that concept to it, you can understand that you must do the discipline, because otherwise this is the person you're going to become. So you're almost running away from that version of you that's trying to eat up at you. And dare I say, in the modern world, with all the things that you can get on tap, the modern day is trying to speed that animal up to become like goblin version of you. Yeah. So I'm always looking over my shoulder, looking at the person I didn't want to become. And that's what drives my discipline forward. I
like that. That's a great way of looking at it. So Tom, being in the military, tell me, sort of once you sort of got through Harrogate, you became a paratrooper.
Yeah.
What was the outcome then?
Yeah, so at the age of 17, just got to battalion, so having passed P Company, was there, and similar situation to you. Joined so young, so always the youngest person. I remember getting there and there's 30-year-old men, literal dominant individuals like standing you to attention, being like, what are you doing with there? And you're just this young, impressionable kid. But what I really took and liked about that was just the ethos inside. It's like they almost had this arrogant zest about them that we are the parachute regiment, we are the fittest of the fittest, we will do things to the highest of standards. And whether you think that's arrogant and arrogance is a bad trait, because they had that, they had this can-do attitude to apply to so many different areas of your life. And when you're 16, 17, 18, being brainwashed by these like literal killers, it does so much benefit to you. So at that point, from a young age, I didn't outright think I was better than everyone, but I just thought I have a standard now to uphold because I have the cat badge tattooed onto my skin. So that is who I am now. And I think that's the main reason people get the tattoo of the parachute. It's to resemble all the time when you look in the mirror, you are that individual and you stand for these values and the ethos.
One thing, it just makes me laugh there. I won't mention his name because he looks stupid. But someone I transferred to the PT course with a para.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying to me once, because I never really got this killer instinct ethos that the paras have. I never really worked with them, so I just didn't have it. Didn't know them. And he was like, I literally thought my bay was bulletproof. Yeah. He got told it so many times over the 20 odd weeks training. He generally thought that it was bulletproof. The berry. And I was just like, really? Yeah. And he was just like, I was like, okay. Yeah. But it's a simple thing. You're surrounded by people who are influential in your life, who are going to be influential for the next 18 weeks, whatever the case may be you're training for. Are you taking that now forward into what you do?
So the parachute regiment, in a weird way, in fact in an obvious way, is like a cult. They have their set terminology, they have to dress a certain way, they are only allowed certain people in it. Everyone outside of this is like literal vermin to them.
What are they called?
They call them crap-hats, everyone outside the army. But that is very, very powerful because you're creating a unique band of brothers that will do a lot for each other. And they hold each other to a high standard. So actually, all of the good that's come out of that, in like you could say a cult is bad, I actually think it's really good, especially in the modern day where people are behind, like in rooms, in laptops, like lonely. If you can bring people together like that, with that sort of ethos, you can create a really powerful thing. And that's why the t-shirt I wear, people will only wear this t-shirt when they've done a transformation because of the standard they must uphold. Like in the parachute regiment, you can only wear the cat badge on top of the marine machine once you've passed the test. It's the same for this, so it has value behind it. People think cults are bad. I think creating that level of ethos is the most powerful thing in the world, and that's how like literal tribes thousands of years ago were formed, and they were so strong together. And let's be honest, we as men, when we're in a tight-knit community, we can achieve so much more than when we're by ourselves. When we're by ourselves, most of us will probably implode unless we're really strong-minded. It's
that sort of SEAL team ethos. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
So when you think you're at the end of your tether, you've got nothing to give, you're giving 10%.
Yeah.
And you've still got 10% to give, And everyone's 10%, if there's 10 of you, that is 100%.
Yeah.
And it just drags you forward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So bottom line is, when you ever see these t-shirts on someone, they've earned
it.
They've earned it. So, I mean, I remember last year being here with you and watching you scurry away in between your free time and you have your notepad out, your laptop out, your phone out. And I watched your work, mate. And I mean that. I really watched your work. And that's where this started to sort of come to light, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I know how it started, but tell that greater audience out there sure.
So, and to be fair, within the first year, it's been great. We've achieved 44 like physique transformations, which I was over the moon about. I wanted 50, but aim for the moon, you might hit somewhere in the stars. Now that was formed, and it kind of looks like that was a really good, successful first year, but that's formed off 10 years in the military, understanding these are my people. These are who I care about. I understand them, I relate to them, I want to help them with, and really just show them their potential of what they have on offer. But to say that and try and get people to join your community, what are you doing for them specifically? Because it's all a little bit like, it's nice and it's very, very important, but it's not tangible. And I always had this drive and passion for growing muscle, growing a strong physique that you're proud of. So after a certain time in my military career, and it wasn't by many people that knew me at the time, may have thought, well, this was a bit abrupt, because I'd just gone from the parachute regiment, gone into the Army-specific Royal Army Physical Training Corps to essentially develop physical training within the Army. 18 months into that, I decided to leave the military completely after it being all I knew. And I went to Dubai because they had this gym there known as Ultimate Performance. They're all across the world and very well respected, but they were known for their specialty in physique transformation and developing physique. So I was like, I must be around them. And that year, it was honestly like being back in basic training. It was like a full development year. You were given a mentor. You'd be sat there with and going through your clients. You'd be like, well, what do you mean you've done that? What do you mean she's gone on holiday? Well, what's she eating now? And you're like this, like, oh my God. And they're like grilling you on the next level to like make sure that everything is in order. They ran it like the military, so I literally fell straight into it, and it was really good. And that year was like a university year, understanding how to do like physique transformation. So I've now got my people I care about. I've now got a tangible skill that will benefit the people. And then when we came here last year and we're around ex and serving military, and I realised how many people, especially when they leave the military, end up out of condition or never having really reached that true potential of 8 to 10% body fat, veiny, good amount of muscle, like the physique they really wanted. And when I had all three of those together, I just put it together, started for free, did everyone for free in the beginning, because the only thing I cared about was helping them and getting them results. And when I dialed in on that, it then just started to snowball. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie, and then it was just, and it's always been the same. Results. It's the only thing that's important to me. Did they get what they came to me for? And that is the vehicle. So going back to all the things I wanted to help them with, the vehicle we use is physique development, is transforming their physique. What it's actually about is developing their character and showcasing who they really can become. Because ex and serving military, they don't understand the potential, like the gold mine they're sat on for their character, but they just need that showcase to them.
So I'm actually on the Gorilla Platoon, the sort of train now.
Yeah.
And I've actually lost 10 kilograms.
Yeah.
And again, that's from someone in the industry of fitness, but I lost my way, especially when I started that other job like we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
But one thing I love, and again, it's I get this from living with you, and I never forget, I woke up one Sunday morning, I think it was Saturday morning, whatever the case may be, and you were on the other side of the wall, and I could just hear you, and you were going off on one, and I was just like, God. And it was, I think the person you talked to put some weight on, and not just some weight actually. In the space of a couple of weeks, I put a lot of weight on. It was over Christmas week. It was over Christmas week.
It was over Christmas.
But I just remember thinking, I hope he never talks to me like that, because I was like on the other side of the wall thinking, Jesus. But one thing I get from you on another level is the passion you're bringing to the table here, and it's and we've had lots of chats because, like I said, at the minute we live together, so I get Tom Sergey on tap. And you're never firing from the hip. You're firing from an educated perspective of this is how to do it, and this is what we have to do. I mean, you know, we've lived together, so you've seen it. Sometimes I've not been on plan. I've been on plan and skirting around the edges of it. But the past 7 weeks where I've really doubled down on what you've been suggesting to me, the way it's flown off me.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of value you're bringing. So your values and ethos of the Gorilla Platoon.
Yeah.
Explain the sort of longevity of that to me.
Sure. So I always say for people, when they come into the Gorilla Platoon, the first and the main thing is it's not about the six-pack. It's not about the training plan. It's not about the nutrition plan. It's not about any of that. It's about the individual they need to become to get that six-pack. If you focus on the abs, you'll never get it. The same way, if you focus and chase after the woman, she'll run away from you. Because when you showcase you haven't got something, you're showing a lack and a need for something. Whenever you need something, it won't happen. So just focus on who do you need to become. And I say to people in the Gorilla Platoon, think of the athlete version of you. Think of the 2.0 version of you. Because you right now, trying to get in shape, it'll last 2 weeks. Because there's this constant pull of you trying to go back to the old version of you, your basic attack. And that's normal. That's not me trying to dig anyone out. Because for the longest of time, you have put a certain person out into the world. People have given you feedback on that person. That's your identity. To leave your current identity is hard. Of course it is hard. So you must think now, who do I need to become? The only way to go from A to B is to believe you're already at B. And reverse engineer, again, going back to the analogy used of the reverse, how to teach a snatch. You say teach it in reverse, it comes a lot quicker. It's the same for this. If you can map out who you need to become, that's your North Star of where you're going to. You're going to become the athlete version of you. Now, in the macro, cool, that's nice. What does that mean on a day-to-day? Just means simply, like you said, my timetables on my laptop, they just need to know what time am I getting up. When am I doing my steps? What's work look like and what am I achieving? Cardio, training, meal prep, and they just rinse, repeat that over. The analogy I use for this is, imagine we've got a screen. There's 2 screens and 2 people operate. You can't really see them, it's a blur. but you can see they're both doing the same thing, and it kind of looks like they're living that athlete lifestyle. But when we take the blur away, one guy is 30% body fat and one guy actually is an athlete, you wouldn't have known the difference because they're both living like the athlete. But if you saw them at the beginning, you'd be like, this is just some fat guy that can't get in shape.
Yeah.
So that's the first and the main ethos. It's about your character. It's not about the six pack.
I mean, when I started Gorilla Platoon, it was I think week 2 out here. We talked about it already prior to coming out here. And I remember you took photos of me, and I was shocked. Like, I really was. I literally went in my room and I was like, oh my God, I am so out of shape. But the problem is it's easily done, isn't it? You know, I had to go back for a family reason, and it wasn't a great reason. And I had 3 weeks off plan where it just didn't matter. It was something else was more important. But the great thing was I came back. You know, you were sort of open armed, right? Let's get. I think the thing you said to me was like, don't get on the scales for a week. Just try to get back into old routine that we were living out here. And already I did that sneaky way, and I thought, God, I need to lose like 2.5 kilograms here, because again, it was 3 weeks, 2.5 kilograms off plan, and that's how fast it turned on. You know, but I loved what you did there. You didn't just go at me. You understood there was a point where we need to let's see what we can get down to in a week, and it really works. So I think that's the thing about you. You can get into these sort of service military transformation people, and that's your specialty. But I think what you've done and done very well is you've turned it into getting into the civilian side of it. Yeah. So sort of being that specialist now, what's that mean to you?
So now it's taking the model of the military and being able to put that onto other people around the world, because they don't know what they don't know. They don't understand that they have a lot of potential, but no one's been able to show them. Now, I'll be the first person to say, and it's one of our ethos and values, you are where you are in life right now because of your own doing. And you can say I'm an arsehole for saying that, but it's true. Unless you came, and there's always everything is always an exemption. If you came from a war-torn country, fine. But most people are where they are in life now because of their own doing. But the beauty of that is they can fix it as well. If they understand that and they're accountable to themselves, they can change it, and the world can literally be their oyster.
One of the things that struck me recently, starting about social media, scroll, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I watched them guys say, everything is your fault.
Yeah.
You can look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And realise it's your fault.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It might be a business decision, might be the body composition.
Yeah.
It might be eating the wrong foods.
Yeah.
You know, for that day. It's your fault. You made that conscious decision to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
But you really do have this sort of, I think it's a way like, even though I live with you and we get it on tap, you still give me my weekly update, which I love, because when I get my steps and I listen to it. But what I like is the sort of the individualism behind it.
Yeah.
You know the people that you work with, you know me, but like you know Tom, Dick and Harry down the road, whoever's on the plan, you know them. Yeah. You take time to really eat into what's going to work. You're like one of my old coaches, you know what's going to trigger me to do the right thing. Like, you know, I had a great week the other week. Oz, this is it now. This is the shift. You need to get on this now. Work, push forward, you know. Yeah. And I dare say if it wasn't working, you'd be like, right, Oz, you need to kick the fucking arse. Yeah. I need to get you into gear here.
Yeah. Some people need the carrot, some people need the stick. The people that need the carrot, they need to be told that the time spent on plan and progress made is not lost if they've fallen off. It's still time in the bank that they've accumulated, and every time they get back to it, it's more time stacked towards it. That's them progressing. It's not that they fell off, that's the problem. They've still stacked progress. But some people, they need to be told, you've fallen off plan here. This is unacceptable. You have a baseline standard, you're operating below it. I'm more of the stick type of guy, but I like the military. I like being taught, like, tell me off, I'll work 10 times hard, 100%. I don't mind a carrot being dangled every now and then. I'm not a vegetarian.
I'll bear that in mind next time I need something done. Yeah. So why do people, what do you think the main reason for people don't have the physique they want?
Yeah,
when you look in the mirror. What is it?
And the analogy I'll use to this is, if I was to push someone, let's say we've got some rocks that are hot, you know, like hot coal rocks, and people walk across them, they're really fucking hot. So if I was to push someone on that, they would jump off as fast as possible because it's hot and uncomfortable. Now, that analogy there, it denotes your standard for anything in life. It's how long you can go without getting a haircut, the cleanliness of your toilet seat, the amount of money in your bank account, the amount of body fat on your body. If you go below that standard, you will wake up in the middle of the night with night sweats. You'll do whatever it takes to get back to the baseline standard because it's hot, it's uncomfortable. The only difference between people that are, well, let's say you've got someone that is on a certain level in life and someone that is a celebrity, for example, like very high up in some field. The only difference between the two people is their level of standard for something. This guy is not willing to accept a standard that is any lower than X, Y, Z in that individual thing. Whereas people down here simply are, they're okay with it, because otherwise they would have woke up in the middle of the night with night sweats and changed it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the main reason why, because people are generally okay with it. They decide, I don't think I need to change. And then second to that, they probably also don't believe they can change. So they don't think they need to, a little bit of arrogance there. They also don't really know how and don't trust that they can, because they've never really done the discipline in the past, when all they need to do is just be someone of discipline, act like you're already at B, and the thing will come to you.
So you've had probably, I think, from someone who knew you last year at the start of this, I think you've had a very, very impressive year. Like from someone watching you grow as a person, grow as a business owner, grow as a head of a community, it's skyrocketed, and I know why it's happened. It's because you've worked so hard to do it, and I know that it's not luck. It's not it's sheer arrogance. It's you are a hard worker. And what's next now? Moving forward for Guerrilla Platoon, where is it going to go? Yeah,
so last year was all about, and the backbone will always be results for people, but that's very individualized. And like you say, it's online, it can be done anywhere in the world. The client can be anywhere in the world. It's now a case of bringing that together and bringing a community together of people that look out for each other. So like over the last few months, the USA members have grown quite well, and they're all in a group together. And they talk all the time. Check that WhatsApp group, like 200 messages in there, and there's 25 of them. Now, the main thing is to bring people together in person, get people meeting up. So this year we're going to do a photo shoot for the US guys in Miami in May. We're going to be doing one in June in the UK for all the UK guys. And then after that, cool, we've got photo shoots, decent. But this is the Guerrilla Platoon based on military ethos. So we need to start doing things that are also challenging in that realm. So the next meetups are going to be things like going up mountains, doing like tasks together that bring us together as people, but are mostly masculine, tough things that will grow us as individuals. Develop our character is the main thing, but do it together, because I think that's what the world is missing, being around people like that. Yeah. And obviously now, again, we're not talking about this, but you brought your brother on board now. I've seen his transformation, and by the way, go on his Instagram and have a look. It's impressive. He's like a clone of him. But you're able to do that now because it's growing. It's growing so fast. I mean, between you both, you'll have this unique work ethic. You'll have this unmeasurable knowledge together. I mean, where do you think after this it's going to go? Are we looking at like teams of guerrilla platoons all over the world where someone is heading the show for you? What's next in that realm? Yeah, it's a good question, and some people will say I'm maybe daft for doing this. People say set 5-year, 3-year, 10-year plans. I only set the next 12 months because the path illuminates as you walk it. So I believe to just fully send it on this line, and as you then uncover that light of that next area of your path, that bit will start to illuminate. So nothing's off the table, on the table. Like, the world is the oyster, and we just go. The main mission is making men feel strong, masculine, proud of who they are, and doing that in a community sense. And as long as we're doing that, whatever the model is that we need to do, we'll adapt and do that along the way.
That's great stuff. Well, been a pleasure, mate.
Nice one.